Salutations! It's been like 2 years since I've done my last Soapboxing4Rinoa, because I usually don't talk about stuff outside of just like wrestling, video games, or food. But speaking of video games, I meant to, for those who've been following me, I asked, like, on my Twitter, I asked this before, like, which do people prefer, like, blind LPs or, like, LPs with, like, walkthroughs, like, just, like, having, like, the know-how ahead of time, and, it's something I've struggled, thought of for a while. I've thought about it for, like, a couple weeks now, and I brought in a ringer with me to, kind of help explain, like, I guess his side of things, like, who's done this for, like, a lot longer than I have. Gizzy, excellent.
Who?
Hmm?
Who?
Who?
Me?
Yes, you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so, I came to you at, on, Hitbox? No, not Hitbox. You don't do Hitbox anymore.
Yeah, it was a stream. I'm on Twitch now.
Yeah, it's all Twitch now. That's,
Yep.
But yeah, I remember asking you, like, yo, do you do all your Let's Plays, like, blind now? Because I guess it's, like, with all these newer games coming out, there's, like, almost, like, no time to just sit in and be like, well, how I used to do it, like, a lot of my earlier stuff was, like, okay, I'm gonna do this game, but I need, like, the know-how of, like, what's this item here, or what is over here, or, like, maybe I can just, like, or, like, cut in and do stuff like that. I guess that's kind of, like, I guess it's become, like, passé almost now. Like, no one does a walkthrough, and if you're just gonna go do, like, walkthroughs anyway, just go to GameFAQs, like I do for all my stuff when I need to look up and see what I need to do for that, so it doesn't really, like, I guess, like, just doing, like, walkthroughs is, like, ahead of time, like, a lot of times, like, the most, like, I think, like, the most popular, like, what is it, like, Two Best Friends is probably, like, the most popular channel I follow for, like, LPs. They don't look shit up at all, like...
Of course not.
Like, they don't do research. Fuck Christ. Like they just went in. I'm like, I couldn't do that. Like, I only did it, like, previous before, because I'm like, I wasn't too sure of myself. But now I, like, look at it, like, everyone's doing, I guess, that way now. Like, all the... Like, you look at, like, most modern games now, it's just like, oh, it's just, like, person coming in. But I guess the danger always with that was, like, what if the game's not as good? What if it's, like... Because sometimes you, like, just drop game. I dropped one, I dropped that one because I wasn't holding my interest. I know you dropped Setsuna.
Yeah, there's
recently.
The problem with doing, like, all blind playthroughs, first-time playthroughs of games is there's a very good chance that you do not like what you're playing.
Yeah. And
then it all comes down to, when did you realize this? Was it early on? That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could shelve that. Or, was it
later.
halfway in? Oh,
yeah.
Well,
push through.
Oh, no, then you have to keep pushing
Suck it up and push through, yeah.
Because you already put so much time into something, you just don't want to throw it away. And the last thing you want to do is disappoint the audience who has been watching it.
Yeah, that's the only reason I left that one LP up that I canceled of, what was it, Bound by Flame. Like, it was a lot of, like, talking, and I kept, like, dying to, like, overworld enemies that I should honestly have been dying to, if I thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I guess that game's like a bit more strategic or something like that. I wasn't coming in expecting, like, Dark Souls or something like that. I wanted, like, Kingdom of Amalur, which is that's what it looked like to me, and I was like, maybe this one's not for me, and I can move on and play something else.
Yeah, but blind playthroughs of games definitely is what most people are going with now, in general. Yeah. Or if it's like a group LP, there's at least one or two people who have never played it before, and then you kind of get that dynamic, and it does better for videos typically, because you don't know what's happening in the game. It's really good for story-based games.
Yeah.
So that, one, it's a good way to have fresh commentary on the whole thing, and you can get surprised by, the various twists and turns that the game has. Like, for example...
Like FF13.
Yeah. Like, you haven't played Final Fantasy 13 before, maybe some of those things that happen in that questionable story might be surprising and good to talk about. I don't know how far you're in that.
Oh, I
finished it.
I did finish that recently.
Oh, okay.
I
And then
remember
you
talking
can
to
see
that
great twists, like, how the one female character, Jill the Bot, just gets killed for no apparent good reason.
Yeah,
for
that was kind of
just halfway into the story because fucking why not?
just shock death, I guess. Then they didn't want to kill off a main character. I never got that at all. I was like, what?
Nothing about that makes sense. But I'm going through Yakuza 4.
Yeah.
And that is a game that is good to play for your first time.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too because I have the other Yakuza games. I'm like, gee, I may want to do that one day. And I'm like, if I do that as like a walkthrough, I'm going to be like, oh, maybe I'm looking up so much shit.
Yeah, because those are so story-based that
Yeah.
you need some sort of perspective that hasn't gone through those games before to go, man, this is nuts.
Yeah,
this is something to actually experience for the first time.
Yeah, like my very first blind LP of what is it? Battle Princess of Arcadias. I thought that was like a huge success in my opinion. I loved the shit out of that game. But that was like a game I would play by myself. But then there was like the story aspect to it, and I was like, wow, this game's really I'm really enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess
I've found myself just doing more blind LPs just because they're more entertaining. You get more entertainment out of it from me. And just because I don't find myself replaying a lot of games too much anymore.
Especially with RPGs. Because that's really difficult to do with RPGs.
Yeah, with RPGs, it's like there's so much of a time investment. And the only other time I'm really playing games for myself, I'm streaming it. So at that point, and all the games that I'm excited to play, well, there's stuff that I would want to let's play anyway. So that's how that ends up working out more often than not. So that's the main reason, one of the main reasons that I'm doing all blind LPs, because there's still...
Plus, it's a lot of time to, like, throw in, like I'm doing. Like, I spent, like, the weekend doing things, and I'm like, do I really want to keep doing this? If blind LPs are the way to go, maybe well, I'm too deep in one to stop doing blind, to make that blind, like Time and Eternity. I'm going to finish. That might be the last one I do, but like I'm doing the Warriors on the other hand, and then that's like a lot of like, oh, look around this corner, jump this thing, climb this whatever to find this tag, and then there's like, dude, there's like I'm looking this on GameFAQs, and there's like a code to unlock everything anyway, because it's a Rockstar game, so I'm like, do I really want to keep going at this pace? With that game, and when there's so much other games I could LP, there's so much other stuff I want to explore, like because that's coming in. I'm all the time complaining about like, man, I'm like so behind on like watching other people's things. I just bought Trails of Cold Steel 2. I haven't even touched the first game. Yesterday I got a response like, hey, Yokai Watch 2 demo is out. I'm like, I haven't even played the first one yet. That is, oh damn it.
Yeah, so stuff I think it's coming real fast.
Yeah.
Especially just JRPGs in general. Like, there's a lot of stuff dropping. I mean, the new Shin Megami Tensei game drops tomorrow. So, that's coming out, and then a new Final Fantasy game's coming out in October, and then 15's coming out in November, so...
what's that one? World of Final Fantasy?
The ones where they all look like Funko Pops, yeah.
I was gonna say 3D Dot Game Heroes, but yeah.
Yeah, basically that. So there's a lot of stuff coming out, so making videos about it, can be really time consuming. And just stuff takes a lot of time. I mean, I'm not going to stop doing non-blind playthroughs of stuff. There's some stuff that I do want to do that is games I've played before, but usually if I only do that if I really care about it personally.
Yes.
Because otherwise I'd rather do blind playthroughs of stuff, because people are going to generally like that more.
Yeah, I think that's what it's become lately. Like, I thought about it, like, early on LPs, like, how it used to be. I guess it was, like, you would just get, like, like, unregistered hypercam and do, like, your old, like, games you were more familiar with. Games you were, like the Super Nintendo era, NES and stuff like that.
Yeah, back when LPing was in its infancy, there was a perceived way of how to do this. This was back when, no one was Let's Playing any game that was at release, because no one had the dispensable income to buy capture devices or high-quality editing programs. No one could even play console games or, run games. Yeah, run games decent enough. A lot of people ran by some of the unwritten rules of like, don't play anything that it hasn't
Yes.
been out for like 6 months. And,
that's something I still kind of follow because I want people to get like their experience on the game before they jump in. I still think that's like kind of a general. That's just a thing for me personally. I don't know if
oh
else does
yeah,
that
everyone has their own thing that they follow.
I've always liked that rule at least
on how to do videos and stuff because just there were some rules on how you should probably handle this. Maybe have a good idea and then a lot of those things were also like, you probably shouldn't do RPGs because they end up being overly long and boring. And then eventually, for me personally, I just said, I really don't care about any of this. I'm just going to play whatever I want. And eventually I'm like, I'm just going to play whatever comes out that I'm interested in because, one, more people are going to watch it.
Yeah. And I streamline everything anyway nowadays. Like if I'm like taking too long, I'm like, oh, let me just cut all this out and meet you at so and so. I do that all the time now.
Oh yeah, I cut as much fat as I can.
Yeah. In
parts because sometimes I'm not that good to the point where I can talk and talk and talk over nothing. I need something to roll off of. So there are times where I'm just gonna cut to the next bit just to make sure there's stuff happening in my videos. I don't like meandering with projects and making them like 80 parts long.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to be. But yeah, blind stuff is good. Let's Playing has changed quite a bit since 2007, 2008.
Yeah, back the urgency of YouTube with like the 5-star ratings you could do, and now everything.
Yeah, the orange subscribe button.
Oh, the orange subscribe button. I can't even remember the orange one.
Yeah, YouTube only in 4:3.
Oh,
no
right.
Quality. Then eventually we got the high quality button.
Yeah.
Which made things look better. Sometimes you'd have to put things in the tags to stretch your video.
Everything was 10 minutes too back then.
Yeah, it had to be like 10 and a half minutes was like that hard limit. And then it became 15 and then they just got rid of it.
Yeah. None of my shit would exist if that limit was still there right away.
That's why I had a Kingdom Hearts 2 LP with 100 episodes.
Right. Jesus. No wonder it took RPG like forever to complete
40.
that one Might and Magic. I remember that from like a long time ago. Him doing Might and Magic. That was like I can't imagine that.
I vaguely remember someone did a Let's Play of Final Fantasy 12.
Wow.
And it was over 200 parts.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Which means it had to be in 2 playlists. Because playlists are limited to 200 per...
Wow.
200 videos per playlist.
That's right.
And then he started redoing it. And I'm like, why? I know you recorded this with a camcorder, but why though? But yeah, blind playthroughs are definitely something you can look into. But it all comes down to what is your audience like?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't necessarily do this unless, my audience also enjoyed it. If they fucking hated that I do, first playthroughs of stuff, I wouldn't necessarily... I'd think about it more before I ignore it and do it anyway, but,
Yeah. It's something I've thought about a lot, too. I'm like, do I continue with this, or is it taking up too much of my time to be like, okay, maybe I can do this now, or something else along the way?
Yeah. It all comes down to, asking your audience, seeing what they want, and if they enjoy that, then you do that. But in the end, you also have to enjoy what you're doing.
Of course.
Because if you don't like it,
and foremost,
if you don't like it, it becomes work, and when it becomes work, then it's not great.
That's what the whatchamacallit became. I'm like, that's why I'm like, do other people just blind LP now because it's too much work to do like the whatchamacallit to like look stuff up now, which is all somebody else's work anyway. Like, it's all on GameFAQs to find everything now anyway. So I'm like, I feel like kind of like maybe this is kind of like cheating, using someone else's thing instead of my own experience and getting like that shock value of that reactions or something like that. Like how much like that like. Again, that my first blind LP I consider was like a huge success just because I was like reacting to like 50% of the things and making like stupid jokes, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I don't know why. I don't just do this all the time. And then I'm like, maybe there's a reason I don't. But now I'm looking at it like, maybe that's the norm now. Maybe that's what's more expected of people. Like people just come in and just like play games or just like Like, and then they'll just do the other things. Like they have other things to do with their time, just to, like, instead of just sit there in front of like a and chronicle, like, okay, this is here, this is here. I mean, I guess that's how it used to be, but with like RPGs, you kind of had to do that. I guess that was like why the early rule, why they don't do RPGs, because you wouldn't fall into that kind of trap.
Yeah, it's because back then, LPing was still new, and the biggest platform for it was YouTube. And then say you're gonna Let's Play Golden Sun, and the game hasn't really started after about 10 parts.
Yeah.
Then you really had to know your stuff, because you have such a low amount of time to do things in general. That and I'm gonna say this: there wasn't that much charisma with the people making videos back in 2008, to where they can really hold someone's attention for maybe a half hour plus in a video.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just sitting in front of a thing and being like, this is this and blah blah blah, like a kind of like a DVD commentary. I'm like, nah, you gotta class it up more than that. You gotta do where's the funny?
I did informative stuff in games that I was familiar with for a while.
Yeah, you can come back and be like, oh, I remember doing this or something like that.
Yeah, and I would do that format, but the thing is, I didn't look up anything. Like, I never, looked up information beforehand, which is great because I did an informative style that plenty of people said, you're completely wrong about this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I might as well just cut my losses here.
Yeah, there's that thing too, where it's like, okay, it's not this thing, but then, there's this other, like, kind of, like, lesser thing with blind LPs where it kind of showed up in a couple comments in Final Fantasy 13 where it's like, oh, you missed so-and-so, and I guess that's like your big thing where it comes down to like where you don't allow like backseat gaming of like any kind in your streams at all. I guess that's where that stems from.
It just comes from the fact that someone's telling me they're like, why aren't you doing this? And I'm like, that's because I don't want to. Like, if people watch my recent LPs, I don't do much side content because I don't care enough. But it also stems from, I'm going to miss stuff in a blind playthrough anyway. So I'm either going to take this from go one of two approaches. Do everything or do nothing.
Yeah.
So most of the time I'm going to say, well, if I do nothing, I didn't really miss it to begin with. So it's a really good out for that, because whenever I do a blind LP, I know I'm gonna miss stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it goes with
Yakuza 4. I do very little. I do pretty much none of the side content in that at all. There's like side quests that open. I said, hey guys, look at this. We're not gonna do this.
Yakuza 1, there was like this whole thing with like the baseball, and I'm like, oh, I'm bad at that. I'm never gonna be able to get through that. I'm not good at the baseball thing.
They're like, you got to train these dudes at the dojo, and I told them no. And he's like, all right, well, come back when you're ready. I'm like, sure, I will.
Yeah.
No, okay. I won't.
Yeah, and that's just like the first game. I can't imagine like next gen now. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what must they put in these games? Like I seen your stream of the what was it, 5? You were doing like pachinko, like you got like lost for 2-3 hours just doing side shit.
Yeah, it gets worse. The new Yakuza that's coming out in Japan is going to let you play Virtual Fighter 5 with online enabled on it.
Yeah, they just straight up threw in what is it, FV or whatever it stands for, like final version or something, whatever it is.
Even Yakuza 5 had Virtual Fighter 2 that had online multiplayer in it.
Because 2 was like the big one at the time, and then like 4
was
for a while, and
then 5. The minigame inside this video game has online multiplayer in it.
That's nuts.
That stuff like that. But yeah, I tend to skip over side stuff whenever I'm playing it for the first time, unless I really am really liking a game.
Yeah, if you're just like curious and like, ooh, what could this be? And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's like eventually Final Fantasy 15 will come out, and that's an open world game. I'm gonna want to explore the stuff in that.
Absolutely.
But if it's a game like Tales of Zestiria, where I'm like, this game isn't very good, I'm gonna go ahead and stay away from all the side content. But yeah, the blind LPing, it just comes down to do what you want, but also see what your audience is really into, and then you can find this happy middle ground between that.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping a lot of you listeners out there leave a comment below. I want to get like your feedback on regarding this, because it just seems like a eventuality I'm going to be doing anyway, because I do have a lot of RPGs I haven't played or haven't finished or haven't touched because other games would come out, and I'd just be like, oh, I can just blind a lot. There's a lot of these I can blind. Like I'm thinking like there's stuff for like PlayStation 1 and 2 I haven't even wouldn't have even gotten like those 5-10 years ago, or I wasn't super heavily into RPGs, but now I'm like, this might be good for a video. Like let me think. Like there's a lot of the PS2 Gundam games I could get. Rhapsody of Musical Adventure, that could be something dumb as fuck and just be like, hey, this will be good for a blind. It's like it's an RPG, but it's a musical. I'm like, this could be something.
Yeah, and I've been trying to keep up with new releases, and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a nightmare. Yeah, like, there's a lot of, like, I have to start the new SMT game that's coming out tomorrow.
Oh.
World of Final Fantasy comes out next month. Then Final Fantasy 15 comes out the month after that. Then I think nothing in December, and then I think 3 things I want to Let's Play will come out in January and February each.
Yeah, that
you know, until everything
that winter to spring month is always the thing for like, oh, everything's coming out now.
Yeah, they're definitely going to push some of that stuff back, because it's all coming out in the same month or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, just see what your audience wants and see what you would like to do, and then you got something good.
Like, yeah, I guess that's really all it is. I guess it's also a little bit like personal preference too, or something like how you kind of handle things together. Like, how do I want to approach this for certain games? I mean, certain games I guess could like benefit from like the walkthrough, but I think for like the most part, like a lot of like your more popular ones nowadays are just like they're just gonna go in and like because they're like because they're pretty popular enough to hold like a conversation no matter what the game is anyway. And I was at the beginning of this, I'm like, maybe that's not my kind of thing to do, but now it's kind of become the norm. It's kind of maybe even a little bit expected nowadays.
Yeah, at this point, it comes down to, don't feel like you need to do something because everyone else is doing something. Because, you know.
Yeah, if I can get this and manage to put this together, I feel like anybody. Honestly, I'm no expert on like at all, really. Like,
yeah, because even if blind playthroughs of stuff is the norm, because like Let's Playing is a lot different now, to the point where everyone says Let's Play. Even like IGN says Let's Plays, you know. So it's like, do what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
If blind LPs are something that you prefer, you'd probably see if you could go toward that. Or, you know, in the end, it just comes down to doing what you want, not worrying about where the tides are going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Or it could just be a personal reason because I'm still like a year back on Best Friends videos. I'm still trying to catch up.
Okay. You're never catching up then.
Oh boy. But yeah, again, really would appreciate some feedback from you guys, letting you know what you think about this. I think, like I'm too far in. Like currently, I'm doing time and eternity. I'm too far in to stop that and just be like, hey, I'm going to do this blind now, and whatever items I get to be like, do. Like, I am very close to endgame at that point, and that'll continue. But I think for the Warriors, I think I'm going to be like, hey, in the interest of making this game not, like, take, like, 3 months, because I was only doing, like, 2 episodes a week or something like that. And I'm like, like, I do 2 LPs now, 2 different LPs nowadays, but even I think that's, like, maybe a little, like, not enough. So...
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of like a mini update in this soapboxing thing, like how I'm going to approach things from now on. So I guess like a more, especially now with like newer games coming out, it's going to end up being more blind anyway, because it's like because for generally like games like you would normally not play in general. Like I said it at the end of Final Fantasy 13. If I played that by myself, I don't know if I would have finished that. But because I was that far in, and then I'm like, it's enough to keep me interested in it, I kept going.
Yeah, you should try the sequels.
Oh boy, I will eventually.
That was a bluff. You probably shouldn't try the sequels.
No? I heard good
They
things.
get-
I heard okay things about 2, but except for like the ending was like DLC or some shit.
Well, once 2 starts, they have to give you a reason why there has to be a sequel, and that already is bad.
Already, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. And then you'll have to play 3.
Yeah, what the
It's
fuck
one
goes
of
on in
those.
3? That's why I wanted to start that, because I played the demo of 3, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? I got it.
That's because 2 doesn't have the best ending in it, and it just cliffhangs.
But yeah, I'll be doing that in the future.
I also think you have to buy DLC to get more info on the ending of the second game.
Oh, I could just look it up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I guess that's by and large. Thank you for coming in. I just really wanted like an
Yeah, no
expert opinion
problem.
from someone who's done this in the like longer before me. Like I'm talking like I said, the era of the 5-star rating, where LP started out. Like you knew more about that than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been around for a while, but I just like wasn't done like videos or anything like that. So I haven't followed like LP like that early on, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that'll do. Take care. Thanks for listening.